I remember when they were itty bitties, and I used to help watch them in our church's nursery, and now they're almost as tall as I am, and I'm not ready for the children that I've cared for to become my size. I'm not ready for that. I have two little ones. You'll learn more about them tonight, but here we are, the end of 2024. You guys ready? 2025? No, I'm not even. That's why we're here. We're here to just zone out and enjoy ourselves. Well, thank you so much, Hampton History Museum, for having me. Thank you, Seamus. Thank you, Al, for hosting me this evening. And I am coming from, if you don't already know, I'm coming all the way from Norfolk, Virginia, which depending on traffic, right? I grew up here in Virginia. Virginia is my home. We moved to North Carolina for just a little bit. We lived in Greensboro for a little while, about 3 years. And then we came back here and we decided to make this home. And my husband and I have a little on-running joke about which state is the best, because he's from Florida. And no, not even close. And so we debate all the time about which state is better, Virginia or Florida. And I caught him. I got him, because I'm competitive, and I found a way to snag him in that debate. I said, in Virginia, they have the phrase, Virginia is for lovers. I was like, do you know why we have that phrase? It's because of the geographical and social, the diversity in Virginia, right? Within 3 hour span, you got this triangle, and you can get mountains if you want mountains. You can get the beach if you want the beach. You can get the country if you want the country. You can get DC and Richmond, that city, that vibe if you want. There's so many things in such a short period of time. And I'm like, Florida is long for no reason. I'm like, there's 3 different, like the first half of Florida is the South and the second half is the Caribbean. Like they're just 2 different things, you know? And so we settled here, and I'm very proud to be from Virginia, and very proud of the lineage, the musical lineage that comes from this space. You guys might be familiar with the phrase that they use to describe artists who come from Virginia. It's called something in the water. Would you be familiar with that? Yeah. But, you know, it was something that people would say, because every time somebody came out of Virginia and made a lot of noise, you're like, man, there must be something in the water down there, because how do you just go down the line all the way back to music history, where you have Patsy Cline and Ella Fitzgerald, and then you get to the 90s with, 80s and 90s with Pat Benatar, and then you get to Dale Matthews Band, and then Timbaland and Missy, and all, the list just goes on and on. And so I saw when something in the water was coming to this area and all the buzz and excitement, I thought to myself, I said, man, I hope I get to join that list one day. So this was my little song, my little, oh no, we're going on Do Not Disturb. Did you guys hear that? My phone vibrating, no, be quiet. This was my little, this was my way of hoping that I get to join that legacy as well. So this song is called Somewhere in the Tide.
All the colors in the valley brush the Shenandoah. are somewhere in the distance, love is somewhere within reach. Someday will be the lesson that somebody else will teach. And if there's someone on the mountain top, somehow we'll make it climb. If there's something in the water, then I'm somewhere in the What is happening? Can you feel the gravity? The rising tide is lifting all the boats. If dreams are somewhere in the distance, love is somewhere within reach. Someday will be the lesson that somebody else will teach. And if there's someone on the mountaintop, somehow we'll make the climb. If there's something in the water, then I'm somewhere in the tide.
I had the opportunity to record my debut album here in the Hampton Roads area over at Virginia Beach. And a lot of folks ask, how come you don't go to Nashville to record? How come you don't go to New York or somewhere fancy? And I just felt like for the very first record that I would be putting out officially, it should take place here at home. We have great musicians here. We have Grace to hear here. And so I released my debut album, and this is the title track of that record. It's called Too Much of a Woman. Yeah. I take it there might be a few fans of that song. And if you haven't heard this song before, it is about encouraging the listener to take up space in the world that constantly tells us to keep our place. As a young girl, you grow up hearing things like, oh, you can be anything you want to be. You can be a leader, you can be this, and you can be that. And then after a while, you start to experience the world and how there are quite a few spaces that don't feel that way about you. And the work that I've had to do to claim my seat at the table and not be considered too emotional or too, you got an attitude all the time. I can't tell you how many times people have just mistook my reserve or my shyness or my assertiveness as attitude, right? And this song was just a pouring out of all those different types of experiences. So if you know the words, feel free to sing along. This ring is fancy, but I'm taking it off. It served its purpose. It's very heavy, so we're just gonna, I'm not used to that while I'm playing. make sure, though, people know it's not about my husband. Don't come for him. He's not here tonight, but every now and then I shows him, like, don't come for him after the show. That's not what the song is about. But speaking of little men, this next song is about a little man, in mind and heart and spirit, very small man. And this song is actually a cover, and it's very special because as a songwriter, I steered clear of covers. Like I was allergic to them. I did not like doing covers. On one side, it's because sometimes I'm afraid I won't do it justice, right? And then on the other side, as a songwriter, I'm real bougie, and I'm like, well, I want to write it. And if you wrote it, then why would I sing what you wrote? I want to write the song, right? And so I wrestled with doing covers for a little while, but this one came about in a very interesting way. I was in Philadelphia hanging out with my dad's side of the family. My mom's side from New York, Queens, my dad's side from Philly. And we were there for 4th of July, just hanging out in the backyard. Not a lot of grass out there. It was garage. Had the garage door open, the tent up, tables, chairs, all the things. The family was just hanging out. We were having a great time. I was living my best cookout life with a slightly burnt hot dog and an orange crush. It's perfect. It's perfect. And I was sitting there, we were just having a good time. My uncle was playing DJ, and this song comes on. You know, with cookouts and barbecues, you can't go wrong with old school music. Like just put that. Don't put none of this. Don't get me started. Just put old school music on and leave it. And so he was playing DJ, and this song comes on that I've heard a million times. And for some reason that day, the story finally grabbed me. And usually when you hear that song, you get swept away by the music and the funk and the horns and the bass and the tapping of the drums, and the intro is like 3 minutes long by itself. And you just kind of get swept away in the funkiness and the soulfulness of this music. And the story, the depth of it, never grasped me before until that day. And I listened and I said, wow, that actually could make a really cool folk song. Because it sounded like a folklore. It sounded like this legend of a person that the character didn't know. And who are they? And I asked these questions, and it's just this mysterious shadow that they could never grasp. And so I fixed my nerve to grab my guitar, head into the house, and turn a classic, soulful, funky American song into a folk song. All right? Now, listen, okay? Because I know we all heard a version or two of songs that people have reimagined. We probably heard it and thought to ourselves, we didn't need you to do that. I know I have. I've heard a couple songs where I'm like, just leave, just don't touch. And so I was very aware of that. I was very self-aware of that. And I did my job to perform it in front of lots of audiences, particularly New York, because New York will tell you the truth. And so far, so good. I mean, it was good enough. I didn't want to upset the music gods and go record it without the approval. So far, it's no one's told me they hated it yet. Okay, a lot of people like it, and one or two were like, I like the original version, but I'm like, okay, I can respect that. No one has told me that they absolutely hate it. So I'm gonna give this a shot for you all. Okay, if you like it, wonderful. Order a CD. I've sold out, but order a CD tonight, and when you get it, you can listen to it to your heart's desire. If you don't like it, it's fine. Order the CD anyway and press it. Problem solved. Okay. And if you're a music purist and you have some words for me afterwards, I used to teach high school, there's nothing you can say or do that will hurt my feelings, okay? So, but for you all tonight, this is my folk rendition of Papa Was a Rolling Stone. I can hear like, oh, how's this gonna do it? We shall see, we shall see.
Rolling Stone, sorry baby, we were never alone. That's 'cause was rolling, rolling. It was the 3rd of September. It was a day I will always remember. It was the day my daddy died. I never got the chance to see him. Always heard bad things about him, Mama. Tell me the truth. Spare me all lies. Mama hung her head. I saw a tear fall, and then she said, "Your papa, he was a rolling stone. Wherever he laid his hat was his home. And when he died, all he left us was alone." Mama, is it true what they say? All his life he had never worked a day. They said he has 3 children and another wife. He did some storefront preaching, talking about saving souls all the time. He was leeching off them, such a shame, stealing in the name of God. Mama hung her head. I saw a tear fall, and then she said, "Your papa, he was a rolling stone. Yeah, wherever he laid his hat was his home. And when he died, all he left was alone." I heard he called himself a jack of all trades. Is that what sent him to an early grave? Begged, stole, and borrowed for his bills unpaid. Not much thinking, too much drinking, and chasing women. She said, "Your papa, he was a rolling stone. Yeah, wherever he laid his hat was his home. And when he died, all he left us was your papa. He was a rolling stone. Wherever he laid his hat was his home. And when he died, all he left us was alone." Sorry, baby, we be left alone. That's 'cause Papa was rolling stone. Sorry, baby, we be left alone. That's 'cause Papa was rolling, rolling. Sorry, baby, we be left alone. That's 'cause Papa was rolling stone. Sorry, baby, we be left alone. That's 'cause Papa was rolling, rolling.
Take it back to yay. Gotcha. Gotta make sure. I'll throw this one in here just for fun. I feel like if that was a cover about Papa being a Rolling Stone, I feel like this cover would be a response if he were to ever roll his way back home. Or come back around again and Mama had to answer the door. I feel like this would be an appropriate response. So if you know this one, let's just change it up a bit and sing along, yes? their choice in one another, right, wasn't quite aligning with who they needed. And so if you guys don't mind, I have a bit of it's not a new song, it's just an unreleased song. And so I need to dust the cobwebs off of it and like get it out there, hoping to put it on the next project. But this song is called Spades. Do we have any spades players in the room? I haven't played spades in a long time, but trust me, I will listen. Get me at a table and I'll hold my own. I love spades, it's my favorite game. And I wrote this song. It was inspired by a mentor of mine who would take me to her house. I would hang out with her all the time during the week or after service, and we would play spades all the time. And that became a safe space for me as a young adult, 18, 19 years old. Life was happening, going to college, getting a job, you know, figuring things out with the car, and then of course boys. And I needed somewhere to talk about boys, right? Yeah. And so that became my space. We would play spades until 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, drinking coffee. Lord have mercy, what was I doing? And that would be where she would impart her wisdom and share her friendships with me. She was a couple years older than me. She was married and having kids. She had a family and all that kind of stuff. So it was a beautiful space for a young girl like me to dawn on the wisdom of someone who was a few years ahead of me. And in honor of her and the wisdom that she imparted to me, I decided to write a song as a metaphor for the things that she shared with me. And in the song it says, choose your partner wisely, right? And so this is Spades.
She said, sit down here at the table, I'ma deal you a hand. Break a new deck and cut the shuffle, make the cards fall where they land. Organize your suits in order to play them the best way you can. Now it's time to count the books so that we can place a bet. Taking chances like romance, and you got time for a few regrets. I hope the odds are in your favor, 'cause a good hand is really hard to get. And don't forget, she said, choose your partner wisely. Watch the way they play, pay attention. Did I mention, don't renege on what you say. Just be in it to win it, play smart and communicate. Yeah, she said, choose your partner wisely. Look them in the eye, gotta trust them, don't you cut them. They'll be taken by surprise. Just be in it to win it, 'cause when you play for life. Don't be afraid to set your standards, go on and play your highest book. You're an ace, a triple threat, you got the spirit and the looks. And they may be intimidating, but darling, don't you let them off the hook. And you're a royal, don't hold back, and don't be afraid to show your ground. 'Cause only kings and only queens are good enough to stick around and keep a few tricks up your sleeve. Yeah, believe me, a deuce will always hold you down. Don't mess around. And she said, choose your partner wisely. Watch the way they play, pay attention. Did I mention, don't renege on what you say. Just be in it to win it, play smart and communicate. Yeah, she said, choose your partner wisely. Look them in the eye, gotta trust them, don't you cut them. They'll be taken by surprise. Just be in it to win it, 'cause when you play for life. eventually they'll play what's in their hearts. She said, choose your partner wisely. Choose your partner wisely. She said, choose your partner wisely. Watch the way they play. Pay attention. Did I mention? Don't renege on what you say. Just be in it to win it. Play smart and communicate. Yeah, she said, choose your partner wisely. Look them in the eye. Gotta trust them. Don't you cut them. They'll be taken by surprise. Just be in it to win it. 'Cause when you play for life. Just be in it to win it. 'Cause when you play for life.
Thank you. I have been very lucky to have gotten dealt a very good hand when it comes to my partner, my husband, my manager, my partner in crime. We got dealt a great hand from the jump, and that's not always the case. Sometimes you have to get it's not until the second hand or the third hand comes around that you get that. So you get that flush of spades, and then you're just rolling, right? And that's the way life is. Life can go that way. I've been very blessed to have my husband Nick, who loves me for the too much of a woman that I am. And he has been more than enough of a man to put up with all the things. And we have been each other's best friend for the last 15 years, coming up in 2020. So he's my muse. These next couple songs I'll do for you all before we go on our little break will shed light into who he has been to me. And so this first one I wrote as a songwriter. I'm very inspired by very specific moments. And so this was a specific moment. He's in real estate, so if you need to buy or sell a house. He's in real estate, and he was getting ready. They were going to like a conference or something, packing his stuff, and they're getting an Airbnb, him and a couple other guys from the office. They're like, yeah, we'll get an Airbnb. They have 2 full-size beds and 1 king-size bed. So he's like, man, I hope they let me get that king-size bed. And I'm like, well, babe, you're definitely a king-size man. You're going to need it. Huge dude, 6'5". And so, I said that, and I said, I don't want to write that song. King-size. And so here it is. This is king-size off my debut EP, Just a Taste.
Your job is calling, now you've got to take a flight. I hope a luggage and give you a kiss goodbye. Our empty castle is making me feel so small. I'll be alone here at our throne, waiting up to be called. 'Cause I miss my king size of man. I miss my king size of man. In your presence, baby, my heart will wait to bow, baby. You best get on your way. How I need you now, babe. I'm waiting for you in this California, baby. business is business. Please don't take your time. No, no, yeah. 'Cause when you're done, there's only one thing that's on my mind. I miss my king size of a man. I miss my king size of a man. I need my king size of a man, baby. I miss my king size of a man.
See, I'm not a man-eater, mean woman, right? I appreciate my king-size men, not only just the stature, but king-size hearts and king-size minds. Can we get a round of applause for that? That's very important. There's nothing worse than a king-size man that has the heart of a fool. Can we be honest about that, right? So, having a king-size man around the house has its benefits, of course. There's lots of things that I can't reach, can't move, can't build and stuff like that. During the pandemic, I don't know how, but he just became a carpenter. He just started building stuff. Built the table, built the furniture out on the lawn, just start building things. And so, it's great. But having a king-size man can have its setbacks every now and then. And one of those setbacks happens to be the fact that he has 2 left feet. And so, in true songwriter fashion, I wrote a song about that too. That's the price he has to pay for being married to me. And it's called He Can't Dance.
Play some music, get into it. Oh yeah, that song's a good one. So I start moving my little two-step. Got my drink, I'm feeling fine. He comes behind me, a little clumsy, but his two-step falls in line. And I smile, because he can't dance, but he's a real man. He gonna do what he gotta do. Smile, to make it count, bring me every start and new. We don't have to be Jackson or Presley with all the fancy moves. No, we can't dance, but loving me will do. We take the ladies to the bed for some good old family fun. They're playing music, so we get to it. They might as well have been the only ones. Being goofy like the movies, we don't care who's watching us. Daddy's silly, 'cause he's willing to show his babies how he loves. 'Cause he can't dance, but he's a real man, and he gon' do what gotta do to make them smile, to make it count, to bring them every start and new. We don't have to be Jackson or Presley with all the fancy moves. We can't dance, but loving them will do. Oh, 1 step, 2 step, round and round we go. How much he loves me, Lord, I know. 'Cause he can dance, but he's a real man, and he gon' do what he gotta do to make us smile, to make it count, to bring us every star and moon. We don't have to be Jackson or Presley with all the fancy moves.
so happens to be a Leo. Do we have any Leos in the house? Oh, haters. The rest of y'all are haters. I heard them up quick. My husband's a Leo, August 4th. He shares that birthday with Obama and lots of different folks. My dad is a Leo. He's in July. And my son is a Leo. And I am a Leo. And so, it works. We're fine, everything's fine. So I call them my three kings. And this next song I wrote inspired by my dad, who was the first example of that king-sized man that I experienced as a young girl growing up. And this song was inspired by an event that happened in 2020. Dun, 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 right? Because we could take a wild guess that it wasn't a good thing. In 2020, my dad had a stroke. I was teaching at the time. I used to teach high school, and as you all probably remember, we were all virtual. So my little ones were upstairs. My son was in pre-K, for crying out loud, virtually. So they were upstairs struggling. I was downstairs teaching to my students struggling. We were all just on the struggle bus that day. And I get a call from his wife, who I knew at the time was in Hungary. She's from Hungary. And she was visiting her grandbaby. So on top of the fact that she is more his wife than my stepmom, because they had just gotten married a couple of years ago. So that's his wife type of thing. And no shade to her, but just like I didn't grow up with her. So we're not chatting like every day. We're not talking all the time. She's not giving me a phone call, especially when she's halfway around the world with her grandbaby. And so I found it peculiar, and I would have assumed that it was a butt dial, except for the fact that, pocket dial. I would have assumed it was a pocket dial, except for the fact that it was via Facebook Messenger. So I answered, took stuff away from my computer and answered. And she said, Roberta, it's your dad. He's been complaining about a headache for the last couple of days, and then I couldn't get a hold of him, and so they had to send someone to do a wellness check, and they found him upstairs unconscious. And so whenever she's out of town, whenever either one of them is out of town, they always text each other at bare minimum, good night, I love you, good morning, I love you, right? They're going to get that text message. So when she hadn't heard from him, they moved into action. So I got off the phone with her and I put my students on mute, which if there's anything we can bring back from the pandemic, at least it's putting teenagers on mute. You can be quiet. And so I put my students on mute. I called my administrator and let them know. We just pack up what we had to North Carolina. And because it was 2020 at the time, they would not let us in the hospital. They only allowed one person at a time. His longtime friend was already there, and so they wouldn't let anyone else in for the day. And so we just had to go back to his house and twiddle our thumbs as nervous wrecks and just hope for the best as he went under for surgery. Well, the next day, I can gratefully say that he had a great, successful surgery and he was up and aware. And we went to finally see him, one at a time, me and my sisters. That was totally not right. We can't say if it was illegal or not, but we dressed up in nurses' scrubs. So because my sister's a nurse, and so she had extra scrubs, so we just kind of like did a little reconnaissance and went there. And so we saw him, and he was awake and alert, and the doctor said, Mr. Farmer, or he said, sir, can you tell me your name? Like, yeah, I'm Farmer. Can you tell me, what year is it? And he's like, 2020. He was like, well, can you tell me who the president is? And he was like, well, unfortunately, and we're like, guys, like, okay, alert, he's awake, he's here. And so he's a soldier. He was in the Army. And so he's like, my commander will look at me like I'm crazy. Get me out of this bed, just give me some aspirin and let me go. And I'm like, Dad, chill. Get some rest. It'll be okay. But when I was at his house, I saw my favorite picture of him and I. It was at my 5th grade graduation, and he came in his Army uniform. Do we have any veterans, any soldiers here? Thank you for your service. He showed up at my 5th grade graduation with all the stripes and the candy and the medals and just looking like a hero. And so when I saw that picture and I saw how he came out of that space, he had fought cancer and survived cancer, just to see how he's just Terminator, like he's just coming back. You know, nobody's knowing. I remember when I was little, he used to pick me up with one arm, and there was like a bullet wound right there from when he served like Desert Storm or something like that. Like he was just this mythic god, you know. And I saw that picture, and I said, I'm gonna write that song. And I said, I'm gonna call it Uniform. It's gonna be about my dad. I just knew it. I mapped it all out in my head. I said it's gonna be about my dad who served in the Army, my husband who served in the Navy, and my son who is serving in 3rd grade right now. But it wasn't until a year later that the song actually came to fruition, and when he finally did, it was perfect. So this is dedicated to all of those who have served in uniform. This is Uniform.
I was just a child, a flower barely into bloom. On the day I reached the end of the crossroads. Early morning sun, I taste the air of middle June. On the day I reached the end of the crossroads. Girls pressed into longer locks, a white dress with a matching stocking, all prepared to walk across that stage. Other dads in simple garb, I laid my eyes upon my father. Striking was the least I could convey that day. From Japan to Desert Storm, he earned the stripes of hero born. There's nothing like a man in uniform. There was no one like my daddy in his uniform. Never in a million years could I ever dream I'd meet you in the cafe overseas. You overcome your fears, I'm not as stuck up as I seem. So you leave a note with our friend and me. Underway for 30 days, we keep in touch to close the distance. Trying to remember what you look like. It's before social media. And no one else is in the room as you walk in your navy dress blues. I'm trying to control these butterflies tonight. Dark and handsome, 6'5", my heart cannot believe its eyes. There's nothing like a man in uniform. And you two ladies, but there is no one like my boyfriend in his uniform. 9 months in the making, how I anticipate my baby boy. I know you'll be here soon, and you'll join your sister, my miss and little mister. 2 flowers that I'll cultivate to bloom. Chubby cheeks and big brown eyes, a smile that keeps me in your pocket. There's no telling what the future holds, but I hope it's filled with joy and blessings for you, my baby boy. I hope you read the good things that we've sown tomorrow. Will you be a fireman, a soldier, or a Olympian? There's nothing like the man in uniform. Oh, my darling, you will see a world of possibilities, a destiny prepared before you're born. I can't wait to see my baby in a uniform. You are just a child, a flower barely into bloom. Hold my hand as we begin at the crossroads. Thank you.
mention one sailboat, there's a bar with beverages of the adult nature as well as soft drinks and water, but it's another way to help support the museum, but support responsibly, as I always say. Yes, we've just brought out some complimentary snacks. That means free, not